A retired Navy SEAL, Bud S-Class 214, 16 years of service, keeps 24 jars of Vaseline in his storage room. Not 24 survival products. 24 jars of petroleum jelly. The same thing your grandmother kept in her medicine cabinet. When I asked him why, he looked at me like I'd asked him why he keeps ammunition. He said, because it does more things correctly than anything else I've ever carried in the field. It costs $9.97 and the prepper market has been selling people $250 alternatives to this for a decade. And the $250 alternative does less. In 4 minutes, I'll give you 7 field applications, including one that involves wound care more effective than a $45 medical product. There's a specific preparation technique, 2 minutes, costs 50 cents, that transforms petroleum jelly into a cached field item. $9.97. Walmart. 7 applications. 1 preparation technique. A supply chain insight that reframes how you think about stocking anything. This video isn't just about petroleum jelly. It's about a category of thinking that separates prepared people from people who think they're prepared. The SEAL's name is Garrett. Bud S-Class 214. 16 years, including time on SEAL Team 3. Now runs residential preparedness consulting. His first question with every client, I don't ask what gear they have. I ask what 5 items they'd be devastated to run out of. Almost nobody says petroleum jelly. Almost everybody should. Petroleum jelly covers more functional ground in a real extended emergency than any single item in most $250 survival kits. And it covers it reliably. Without expiration. Without batteries. Without proprietary components. Without a supply chain. Garrett has cached petroleum jelly in 3 locations. Main storage, truck, waterproof container in outbuilding. The item that does 7 things is more valuable than 7 items that each do 1 thing. Garrett Application 1. Wound barrier and occlusive dressing support. The application that surprises people most. Marcus, 14 years Navy corpsman, combat deployments with Marine infantry. This is the use that surprises people most. Petroleum jelly applied around the wound margin creates an airtight skin seal under a dressing. Same principle as clinical occlusive dressings. Removing untreated gauze after 24 hours tears the clot. Petroleum jelly edge-treated pad does not. That's the difference. Marcus. Every emergency room uses petroleum jelly impregnated gauze. Adaptic, zero-form, Vaseline gauze. You can make it for $12 less. In a grid-down scenario where you manage wounds over days, petroleum jelly-treated dressings allow healing. Untreated ones keep re-injuring the wound bed. Application 2. Fire starting with the cotton ball method. Every prepper knows about this. Most don't know the correct ratio. The difference between a fire starter that burns 90 seconds and one that burns 4 full minutes in wind and rain is the preparation technique. Full internal saturation, not just coating the outside. Work it into the center. When you pull it apart and see petroleum jelly throughout the fiber matrix, it's ready. 10 cotton balls, fully saturated, weigh less than 1 ounce. Fit in a shirt pocket. 10 fire starters. Each burns 3 to 4 minutes. Garrett. A lighter fails when wet. A ferro rod fails when hands are numb. A petroleum jelly cotton ball ignites from a spark, even slightly wet. I've started fires with these in rain, wind, cold fingers, these things light. Every time. Garrett Application 3. Skin and extremity protection in wet and cold conditions. This one is about survival function, not comfort. Cold and wet conditions cause chapping, cracking, trench foot. Both are painful. Both reduce dexterity and mobility. Both preventable with petroleum jelly before exposure. A thin coating on clean, dry feet before socks creates a waterproof barrier that significantly reduces maceration leading to trench foot. Garrett. The guys who use it don't crack and bleed and lose dexterity at the exact moment they need dexterity. Bud S principle. Application 4. Metal corrosion prevention and equipment maintenance. Petroleum jelly is a maintenance supply as much as a medical supply. Petroleum jelly is hydrophobic. A thin coat on metal creates a moisture barrier, preventing oxidative corrosion for weeks to months. Battery terminals, exposed fasteners, tool surfaces, fuel container interiors all benefit from a thin petroleum jelly coat in a grid-down scenario. Marine gunsmith. Petroleum jelly as a firearms preservative dates to the 19th century. In grid down, it buys months of corrosion protection. Application 5. Boot and leather waterproofing. Your boots will fail in prolonged wet environments. At the seams. At the stitching. Petroleum jelly, applied to boot leather, seams, and the junction between upper and sole, creates a water-resistant barrier extending performance in wet conditions. In naval special warfare, your feet are a mission-critical asset. Petroleum jelly on boot seams before a wet operation extends waterproofing for 24 hours. Application 6. Lip and mucous membrane protection. A cracked, bleeding lip in a grid-down scenario is a biological security breach. The $3.99 chapstick is approximately 20% petroleum jelly. The $9.97 Vaseline jar is 100% and lasts 10 times as long. Marcus. Standard issue cold weather kit has included petroleum jelly for lip protection since World War II. A century of field medicine confirms it. Application 7. Improvised occlusive chest dressing. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. An open chest wound requires immediate occlusion, sealing to prevent air entry. Commercial chest seals cost $20 to $45 per unit. The technique. Place gauze over the wound, apply petroleum jelly generously around all 4 edges, press firmly for an airtight seal. Leave one corner slightly raised, this creates the flutter valve that allows air to exit without allowing air to enter. Military taught technique. Marcus. This technique is taught in tactical combat casualty care, not a field improvisation. A documented field-validated technique, 15 cents in petroleum jelly and gauze. Replicates the core function of a $45 chest seal. Military taught, not an improvisation. The 50 cents preparation. Pre-made petroleum jelly fire starters in a tin. Garrett caches this in 2 of his 3 locations. Tear a cotton ball into 3 sections. Saturate each section. Pack the sections into the tin. Close the tin. 2 minutes. What you now have: a weatherproof, crush-proof, pocket-sized fire kit. 3 fire starters. Each burns 3 to 4 minutes. Opens with one hand. The metal tin also serves as a heat conductor, melting pot for petroleum jelly or makeshift candle with a cotton cord wick. Garrett. I could buy commercial fire starters. I don't, because I can make 10 for what one commercial product costs, and resupply from any jar I encounter. Why Vaseline specifically, not generic petroleum jelly, not store brand? At the end of the conversation I asked. The answer had nothing to do with the product. He said, Vaseline has been continuously manufactured in the United States for 150 years. Available through the 1918 flu pandemic, the Depression, World War II rationing. Available during the 1973 oil crisis. Available during every supply chain disruption in living memory. Never out of stock for any sustained period. When I decide what to stock before a supply chain disruption, I don't ask what's the best product. I ask what has never not been available. Vaseline is that item. 150 years. Every American crisis. Never out of stock. That's the supply chain argument, not the product, the history. Garrett, 24 jars. $120. 12 years of supply. Against $250 for a kit that does less. You tell me which one is the better investment. The pair item. Equate non-stick gauze pads. $2.97 at Walmart. Combined with petroleum jelly, a complete wound care system for $13 total.